I just asked for you guys, just like the video. That's it. Not too much to ask for, right? We got a busy weekend of boxing. If you've been tuning into the channel all week, we've already had boxing. We've already hit. So when we talk about a successful weekend, if you would have listened to some of the picks we picked for Yokohama, Japan, you should be going into the weekend in plus money. And what I like doing whenever we have these Wednesday cards, we had one 2 weeks ago in Australia, and we just had one in Yokohama. On the winnings, what I like to do, so maybe you guys could do this moving forward, is I just keep whatever I win midweek, and then I roll it over, and I tend to bet a little heavier on the weekend picks. So on the channel today, I uploaded 2 videos. I uploaded my breakdown and analysis and prediction of the Caleb Plant versus Armando Resendez fight. And then, what's up, GOAT? And then I also uploaded the Jamal Charlo versus Cornflake fight. So if you want to watch the complete analysis breakdown, I give you the pros and cons of how they go about their business in depth. That's on the channel right now. I know a lot of you guys know where you're leaning with your picks. So if you have any questions about the fights, whatever you want to ask, let's shoot those questions now. We could get into a lot of stuff. I was live on Gary's channel yesterday. He runs 3D Boxing, and we went over a 4-leg parlay. So if you guys didn't catch that, we could go over that. It pays about 3-1. My long parlay that I could go over with you guys, I already put this in 2 days ago. When people talk about locks, I know, you might not think so, but I have an 8-legger, which I think is a lock. It only pays $1.52. So what I like using these parlays for is going heavy. 10K gets you 5,000 back, and just keep deducting. $100 will get you your money plus $50 back. And that's the one that I'll go over first. 8 legs. Now, what I also like doing, because we have the 2 cards in Vegas and we have the card in Mexico. The card in Mexico, what's up, Javi, takes place first. So I've broken this parlay up on the fights on your Friday if you're American, and my Saturday. And so 8 of them I'm taking. We don't even have most fights on FanDuel yet. We don't even got the code. Then maybe I'll go live again tomorrow for you guys. And if you don't, maybe grab a pen, or you could revisit this video because it's up. I post them. What do you think about Gallegos and Bully by TKO parlay? Are you going, Israel, are you going Gallegos money line or both TKO? Those are great odds. Beck Fulgham under maybe plus 132. Code decision, he'll move in box. You guys know where I stand on. I think Gallegos beats Co, and both TKO. I like the odds. And if you paid attention all week to Gallegos and Co, the odds started here. Co was a huge favorite. Right now, they're even money, which is telling you a lot of the smart money is coming on Gallegos. That fight's in Guadalajara. I think they changed Grant Flores' opponent. Let me check. Yeah. Right now, I have Flores fighting Barraza. He's $1.02. So let me give you my 8-leg real quick, and then I'll answer the questions. What's up, Matt? So Danny Garcia. None of these odds are over $1.10, and they only pay $1.52. But I always hit on these. These are my long parlays. I always hit 55 out of 56. I've hit. People saying Gallegos on that stuff. Your thoughts? I mean, Gallegos. I side with the athlete. I like to think he's just training hard. He does look good at 74. The fight's in Guadalajara. We do know Jaime Munguia, what happened today. We know about Eddie Reynoso, which is a different camp. But yeah, so Danny Garcia, 104. Santiago Dominguez, 110. Grant Flores, $1.02. Caden Griffiths, $1.03. Federico Pacheco, $1.06. Gabriel Valenzuela, $1.10. And then Josh Edwards at $1.03. And MJ Akhmadiev at $1.03. You put all 8 on those, we need to start holding VOD account 100%. What's up, who, Mad? What's up, guys? Wherever you're tuning in, guys, girls, I appreciate you tuning in. I'm live streaming from Sydney, Australia. If you're new to the channel, I say thank you. If you haven't already, hit that like button. I just gave you my long parlay for the fights in Mexico. 8 fights, $1.52. Like I said, I'm 55 out of 56 with these long parlays. And, I'm winning a lot of money on them. I don't even think there's risk on this. According to BoxRec, it's now Grant versus Brandon Diaz-Campos. All right, we'll see what my book allows me to do. How are you going to start the live same time as the Knicks game? Is the Knicks game going? Well, nobody wants to watch the first quarter anyway. I got action on that Knicks game anyway. Who was the sixth guy you said? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gabriel Valenzuela. He's fighting Manuel Medina. You know the NBA playoffs don't get hot to like the second or third quarter anyway. I actually have a little parlay on that game too. I just took a bunch of players to score, like scoring point props. I think it's crazy. I need Brunson to score 30 plus. I think I picked Cat. I need Cat 20 plus and a couple other guys. It pays a nice little 7-1. But we'll stick to boxing for this one. Consider I'm a boxing channel, but I do watch all sports. So here's an interesting bet, guys. If you want to go heavy on a method of victory in Vegas, I did a breakdown, if you guys haven't seen it, of the Jamal Charlo fight. He's fighting Cornflake. I talked about this in the video. We know what's going to happen. We know the narratives of that fight card. Cornflake is a huge underdog against Charlo, and we know Resendez Armando is a huge dog against Plant. Armando's a tough fighter, which, Johnny, do you have the Carmel? Yeah, I do. 100%. Carmel's $1.03. He's going to, there's a couple of these fights, guys. Carmel Moten, Locke, a lot of these younger guys. Why not put Eric? Felix, we talked about Eric Priest yesterday on the live. I'm staying away from the Eric Priest fight. I got to be honest with you. I'll tell you why. We broke the Eric Priest fight down pretty convincingly. I mean, should he win that fight? Yes, but I don't know, man. I don't want to say it's a trap fight. Yeah, I stayed away from the Cat because he got hurt. It was a game time decision. Let's cover Eric Priest real quick. You know, we know he's undefeated. Luis Arias, guys. If you would have tuned into the live stream on Gary's last night, we talked about Priest versus Arias in depth. When you look at Arias, he has 4 losses. You know, he has a win over Jared Hurd. He lost to Erickson Lubin. At the world level, he has way more high-level experience than Priest. Priest is still kind of a project, in my opinion. I think Priest is more, you know, he's a prospect. He's marketable. A lot of the American sort of media is behind him. But if he thinks he's going to go in and just dog walk Arias, I don't think so. Arias is, you know, look at the guys he's fought. You know, he drew against Gabriel Rosado. He's fought Danny Jacobs, even though he came up short. He's beat Jared Hurd. When you look at that resume, what do you think about Kyron? Oh, I'm picking Kyron. So Kyron Davis, yeah. Kyron Davis is, how long you been live? I've missed it. I've only been live 8 minutes, Jake. I've been live 8 minutes. This will be up on my playlist, so if you miss anything, you can revisit it. So I covered Eric Priest. I'm staying away from the Priest fight. Now, if you want to throw $10 on a heavy dog, take Arias. I'm not saying Priest is going to lose that fight, but I don't think he's going to walk. I don't think Arias should be that big of an underdog. Now, you love Kyron Davis fight. That's wild. I don't know, man. I love his opponent, Yenli Hernandez. So, Yenli Hernandez is a 7-0 Cuban with 7 knockouts. How's Arias going to win if he comes from fighting a Hindu? I'm not saying Arias is going to win. I'm just saying that I don't know if he should be an 8-1 dog. That's all I'm saying. And the question was, what do I think about the fight? I'm not betting on that fight. Personally, I don't have him on a parlay. But Hernandez, I think Hernandez stops Kyron Davis. Kyron Davis is a great boxer. He's very technical. I just don't think Davis, I don't think the Americans know about Yenli Hernandez. YouTube Yenli Hernandez, he's a Cuban who does all of the Cuban things well, but he's a banger. When we think Cuban boxers, hi Johnny, Gallegos and Co. both came at 173. Was that contracted? Yeah, light heavyweight. Yeah, the max was 174. What really by stopping? This is on a method of victory bet. So if you're new to my channel, I make my money on my money line parlays. I already covered that. All these other bets, I'm telling you, are just like fun. We'll call them fun bets. You know, I didn't cover the Hernandez versus Kyron Davis on my channel. So I'm putting, these are just money bets I'm putting money on based on my knowledge of the sport. I'm taking Hernandez to stop Kyron Davis. It pays $245. Hernandez had a fight earlier this career that he didn't knock out, has split decision on IBA Pro. I don't get those IBAs on BoxRec. They have him at 7-0, 7 knockouts. And, what I was saying about his style, he does all the Cuban stuff well. But, when you think about like Cuban fighters, people complain. Think about Skull versus Canelo. He moves a lot. What Hernandez does is he has power. He has pop. He's looking to finish the fight. I think he's going to overwhelm Kyron Davis, and I think he stops him. So if you want to have a little fun bet, take Hernandez and Charlo to win by stoppage. I also think Charlo stops Cornflake. Yeah, you're having a headache between Ko and Gallegos. I think Ko. Ko has never shown me. I don't think Khalil Ko is the guy everybody thinks he is. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Khalil Ko, is the prospect that Eddie Hearn thought he was. And I think Gallegos is a lot better than a lot of people thought he was. With Gallegos, his pressure, with his power, how he fights, how that first fight went, and the fight being in Guadalajara, I'm very comfortable with Gallegos beating Ko. He started off as a big dog, and now that's about an even fight. The only fight this weekend I'm a bit hesitant on that I've already bet on that I covered is the Beck fight versus DFG. What's up, Said? We appreciate you on the channel. Guys, wherever you're tuning in, could you please like this video? It helps me out a lot. Gallegos has, especially in Mexico, 100%. Yeah, go with Gallegos. The first fight wasn't close, 100%. It's kind of interesting that there's even a rematch. I was kind of shocked that Gallegos and Ko wanted to run it back. Kudos, it was on Ko. He put his hand up. He said he wants to get that back. I don't see him beating Gallegos. The only fight, like I said, I feel kind of hesitant on that I've already bet on is the Bektemir fight versus DFG. I'm going with Bektemir considering his style and his pressure. And when we look at Darius Fulgham, you see everything on paper looks good. You look at his resume, not too good. And you look at his style, he wants to pressure and bully his opponent. I think he's going to run into the wrong opponent to do that to. I don't know if he's at the world class or the level Beck is in terms of going to be able to hunt him down and get past Beck's power. So that's the narrative and why my reason is going with Beck. I didn't put him on my long parlay, though. I just took Beck and Gallegos at a money line on a separate ticket. So I got Beck and Gallegos on a money line separate. I got Jermall Charlo and Yenli Hernandez by stoppage on a separate ticket. But like I said, where I make my money is that one I already gave you. It's $1.53, the 8 legs. And I'm going to give you one more tomorrow because there's another parlay that happens the next day in Vegas. This one goes down in Mexico. So, like I said, keep the questions coming. You don't have to agree with me. Do you have the odds on MJ's fight? Yeah, it's Cigar. He's $1.02. Avoided Carmel Moan. His opponent is a 5'11" Cuban. You'll win so little. Yeah, there's not a lot of juice for it. Ko might be mentally destroyed. Who knows his confidence? Yeah, Rocky. And everything I've heard about Khalil Ko, whenever I think about a prospect who struggles with lifestyle issues, people were talking about, he's not disciplined outside the ring. You mix that with the hype. We have to remember, this guy got all the hype because when he was an amateur, he knocked out the 2-time amateur world champion, the Cuban, Julio De La Cruz, I think. And that put all this pressure on him. I don't think he's ever lived up to it in his own sense. Something about his mentality, though, Rock. Yeah, he's taking the fight. I mean, there's a lot of Khalil Ko fans. I don't see his path to victory against Gallegos. And, the odds so far are speaking on that. Let's see who else did we cut. Lucero. I think if you want to throw Lucero on a money line, that's a lock. I don't have Hernandez fight. Yeah, so why? Oh, you don't have Yenli versus yeah, it should be. It's one of the. It's a featured fight. I don't know why you wouldn't have it. Give me 1 second. It should be on there. Maybe you're spelling his name wrong. But are you guys? Do you have Murad by stop it? They're not Rocky. They're not giving me the option to take MJ by stoppage. I just put him on a parlay at money line like $1.03. You don't get it much back, but you get the victory. It adds a little bit of juice. FanDuel and DraftKings are being weird. They don't have most of the lines for the weekend's fights. It is only Thursday night, guys, where you are. It's Friday here. Maybe that has something to do with it, or maybe this is how they always do their business. Eric Priest, Yohan Lee. Yeah, this is. I have DraftKings app. Yeah, Kyron Davis. It's weird how BoxRec has that IBA. Whoever meant somebody said that earlier. I think it might have been Goat. If you go to BoxRec, yeah, you see all bouts. His professional record says he's 7-0. I'm glad you brought up Carl Martin. I'm high on Carl Martin. Carl Martin is an undefeated Filipino fighter. I think he's 25-0. He hasn't fought a lot of high-level competition, but I think he gets the job done. That's on the undercard of, I think, Plant and Resendez. Where can I go in person and place bets? I don't know where you, Goldmember, where are you living at? You know what I'm saying? I know it's different everywhere. Down here in Sydney, we just use our app. We use our phone. But maybe somebody lives where you're from. They could give you advice. Yeah, I have Carl. Whoever asked about Carl, I have him on one of my parlays. IBA Pro. Yeah, that was his debut 3 years ago. Split decision. Do you also make bets in the lower undercards in the PBC? Yeah, I do. Martin Filipino. Yeah, so all of those bets are on a separate parlay I'm going to go over tomorrow. Yeah, so on the Golden Boy, there's a lot of I call them feeder fights where Golden Boy top rank. Yeah, Yoenli Hernandez, I have him winning. MGM Grand is a kiosk. So Golden Boy top rank, those fight cards, I've won a lot of money on them picking the prospects because you know how boxing goes. By the way, Johnny, it's Koki. I just changed my name. Oh, Savio, cool man. Change it, Savio Vega Koki. I see you. Appreciate the support. All right, thank you, Eddie. Guys, wherever you're tuning in, like this video. We're going to go over tomorrow on the live stream the Golden Boy cards. There's a lot of money there too. I want to take it one step at a time. IBA Pro is also 5 judges, I noticed. Not sure even what I know. And I looked, it was a 5-rounder. It's weird that that's on BoxRec. How about Frederico? Frederico wins that fight. Yeah, I got Frederico winning that fight. Just locked in Gallegos and bullied by TKO to win 10K. Oh, Israel Torres! Let's go! That's a lot of pressure, but let's do it. Do you also make bet on Galaz, the undercard of Gallegos? Let's see if we got that fight, guys. Give me 1 second. I think I did. Yeah, I'm not getting that fight. Galaz is fighting. Yeah, I'm not getting that fight. Easter, Gallegos, Priest, MJ, Edwards, yeah, Gabriel. So yeah, they have Gabriel under Valenzuela. I have him on my card. So Galaz is fighting Manuel Medina. He's on my parlay. He's a fun fighter to watch. There's a lot of these prospects, man. Somebody in the comment section today said that these fight cards this weekend are trash. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, that's a casual. Because there's a lot of fun fighters on these cards. Recently lost Matias, and he's the favorite in the coming fight. Yeah, but when you have a guy that people are backing when you're coming off a loss, it's kind of a feeder fight. He's not going to go back-to-back. He's fighting a guy. Google Manny Medina is a 9-1 dog in that fight. It's a bounce-back fight. So, you look at matchups, for instance, Charlo. He's been off since 23. He's only had a handful of fights since 19. He's fighting Cornflake. That's a bounce back fight. You wouldn't. That's why these guys don't, especially after losses. You'll see on BoxRec, you have a contender or a former champion has a loss, and then they'll fight a guy with a decent record in like a 10-rounder versus a 12er, or even sometimes an 8-rounder, depending on how much time they took off. Yeah, that's definitely a casual. This Koga fight has me very interested. Yeah, there's some good matchups, guys. It could go either way. Israel Torres, man, that big bet you hit, you place, man. I think our whole channel's pulling for you. Charlo should win by stoppage. Daniel versus Rodriguez, I have that on my parlay, guys. Yeah, Daniel Garcia should win that fight. What's your thoughts on Lucero? I like Lucero. He's on my. I have Lucero winning that fight. We covered that on the live stream on Gary's yesterday. Gary's up on Lucero. I know he's. A lot of these guys. He's fighting Valenzuela. Like I said, even if you don't have a perfect record, when you're with certain promotional companies and you're coming from a betting perspective, gambling perspective, guys, you can almost, you look at the matchup and you see the trajectory of their career, how the promotional company is pushing a guy, and, it should weigh into what you bet on. Blanca, he's a big favorite too. He's $1.07. Oh, Kwame Ritter. Who's the opponent? Lucero. He's a Mexican fighter, undefeated Mexican. Kwame Ritter is a guy that's lost. Yeah, Blanca should win that fight. I didn't. There was a question I missed. So, guys, wherever you're tuning in, like this video. Munguia, I know. Savio, I'm a fan of Munguia. I cover him on my channel. I like how Jaime trains. You know, everything about him. I was kind of bummed out when I heard that news today. When you look at Eddie Reynoso's camp, you know those memes are going around. I posted it about how many fighters in his stable have tested positive for PEDs. Munguia then just issued a statement saying he's going to wait for his sample B. Hopefully, I mean, how many times, though, historically have we seen the sample B come back clean? And you look at Jaime's physicality as well from when he was younger to now. He has drastically, gotten more fit. How much of that is him being a professional? Because everything I heard and know about him, he lives in the gym. He's a consummate professional. It would just be really, I think it's, whenever a fighter pops dirty, man, it's just bad for the sport. It's unfortunate, especially for Bruno Saras, the Frenchman. Bruno, came up from 60 to 68 in the first fight, flew to Mexico, only had, I think, 4 knockouts on his record, was a 12-1 dog, and knocked Munguia out in Mexico. I featured this fight. Guys, did you know in the first Sarase fight, they didn't even have French translators in Mexico. So when Sarase has the biggest win of his career, he couldn't speak to the media because they did not expect him to win. So look that one up. Nobody they thought he was going to get starched so much they didn't have a French translator. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. If it's best believe, I'll be doing it in Israel tours. I appreciate you guys. So for Saras to do that and then take the rematch, I think just recently, and lose the rematch, and then we find out that Munguia tested dirty. I'm like, man, I hope that's not true. With fighters, when these things come out, guys, maybe it's the coach in me, maybe it's me being a former athlete. I always side with the athlete initially, and then I'll be patient before I jump to conclusions. So I'm not going to be a guy sitting here jumping to conclusions, calling any fighter a cheat, even though he tested positive. I want to wait, and we'll wait it out. We'll see what happens. I'll document it on the channel. It's just unfortunate, man. And you look at the history of Eddie Reynoso's camp, man. There's no denying it. The list goes on and on. Look at the fighters. And I put that post up on our channel today. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Is there a chance the decision will be a no contest? Sarase is petitioning for that. But if he tests dirty, do bet on the fights. It's 2,500. Do bet on the fights. That's minus 2,500. I mean, they think about what happened with Garcia. Haney got the whole goddamn fight erased from history. So Haney's lost to Ryan. It doesn't even show up as anything. So who knows? I saw a podcast with Bill Haney confirming August 16th, Dev versus Teo at 45. Hopefully it happens. I wish it was at 40. But Savio, was that recently? Because Teo just tweeted to Turkey and called him a dictator, and Turkey said that he's done with Teo. That was in the last 24 hours. So I would like to see, this morning. Okay. But, with Bill Haney, we could, once again, with breaking news, I know a lot of boxing channels get a lot of clicks and a lot of subs because they talk about things, they kind of create their own news. I'm just going to wait. My channel is all about fights that are happening this week. I mean, I stay in the know with update boxing news, but a lot of the boxing news and headlines are made to just create clickbaits. I like staying in the now, analyzing, breaking down, and betting on the fights right in front of us. So that's good. But if you have questions about it, you could ask me. I just don't make videos about it. You see a lot of, there's so many just garbage boxing channels on YouTube. So I try to keep everything with integrity here. So yeah, the clickbait is insane. I heard the Navarrete-Suarez fight. Yeah, it was, guys, Rocky, it was supposed to be made this June after CAC makes finals. Yeah, so we're still waiting. We'll see. That he's referencing the title fight with Navarrete where it was clearly a punch. You can freeze frame it. I did a video on this on a short, and then it was rolled an elbow or a headbutt, and then they went to the cards. And Suarez was coming on, man. Even though I won a lot of money on that, by the way. So, but I have to be honest, and you guys know me. If you've been here long enough, I keep things transparent and 100. I won a lot of money on Navarrete and the stoppage, both on a parlay and a bet, and I picked him to win, but mate, that was the wrong call. That was a punch, 100%. You could see it. You could see the opposite angle, and Suarez was coming on. So, you know, I think the right thing to do, I don't know about on paper what they're going to do about the decision, but we need to see the rematch because Suarez impressed me, even though at 36 years old and, you know, not having a lot of pro fights. You know, this is a guy who fought Lomachenko in the amateurs. So the guy could box, and he was coming on, and that was his style. And we know Navarrete, you know, has a history as the fight goes on, and he's not the most defensively sound guy. It was getting interesting. It was getting momentum after the cut, and Top Rank saved the day for Vaquero. And I'm a big Navarrete guy. Give us one fight on Friday you know they're going to win, and what fight you go all in on. Great question. I mean, do you want odds? I mean, I've given you 8 of them. I've given you 8 fights I'm going all in on. My 8-leg parlay, I'm betting the most. I gave you 8 of them, guys. I'm 100%. That's a lock. I have no doubt in my mind that that's a lock. So not one fight, but 8 of them. It only pays $152. You put the 8 fights that I talked about at the beginning of this video on one parlay, it pays $1.52. So we'll do increments of 10,000. A 10,000 bet gets you 5,200 back. And everything I'm learning about a lot of the boxing heavy hitter gamblers, this is how they bet. Now, 8 legs is a bit risky for some people. Gallegos first Ko. I think Gallegos beats him again convincingly as well. Ko's never impressed me, and we've already seen this story. Also, it's happening in Guadalajara. You know, it's in Mexico. Do you honestly believe LaManna has a chance? No way, Rocky. LaManna gets stopped. Guys, that card in Vegas, Plant, Resendez, Charlo, LaManna, the whole card is built for Plant and Charlo to win. We know that. Go over them again. I'm putting money on Gallegos. You should. All right, PJ, I'm going to go over them one more time, all right? PJ, grab a pen, or you can press pause on this because I post this. These are the 8. This is the 8-leg, my money line locks. If you follow my channel, I've hit 55 out of 56 locks in a row, okay? The only one we lost was Josh Taylor, but then we hit 8 of them in Poland, and then we hit all 5 on Wednesday in Japan. Okay, here's the 8. Daniel Garcia, Santiago Dominguez, Grant Flores, Caden Griffiths, Pacheco, Gabrielle, Josh Edwards, and MJ. So the Uzbek fighter, Murodjan Akhmadaliev. These are guys that are built. These guys are on this card to win these fights. I saw them on his highlights, and I don't see any shape or form of him beating Charlo. No way. And you know, I'm not a fan of Jamal in terms of like, I'm not a fanboy is what I'm saying. I'm a fan of the sport. Jamal Charlo at his best does a lot of things well, right? We know he's inactive. You can't talk about Charlo without talking about inactivity. Jose Benavidez Jr., his last fight, 2023. Even though 22 out of Charlo's 33 wins are by knockout, Charlo hasn't knocked a guy out since 2019, Dennis Hogan. So it's been 6 years, right? This fight, you know, this is tailor-made. When we look at Charlo's style, he's a boxer-puncher. He does great body work. At his best, he had good hand speed. LaManna is going to walk right on. LaManna, all he does is high guard, and he just tries to walk you down. He doesn't have one-punch knockout power, doesn't have pop. His feet, I mean, nothing LaManna does. This fight, at a world level, I mean, I think this is easy money. I got Charlo by stoppage 2-1 money. So if you don't like anything I said today, and if I ever would predict a fight method of victory as a lock, I think Charlo stops. And my only problem is I'm not sure if Charlo can stop Thomas given the long layoff. And that reasoning could go either way though, because Charlo stopping LaManna wouldn't be a one-punch thing though. It would be, you know, he would catch him, he would hurt him. Look, have you seen LaManna's body? LaManna looks like one of those guys who weighed a lot and then lost a lot of weight. I don't know him personally. He seems like a tough kid, born in Jersey, Philly guy. You know he's tough. He has a chip on his shoulder. But I think all of that you see in his style, and I think that's going to, you know, come back to burn him against Charlo. Charlo wants, he said the path of his career is beat LaManna, beat Plant, fight Canelo. You don't get a lot of buzz if you can't stop Thomas LaManna. Look at the Lara fight. Everyone talks about he got stopped within the first minute or so against Lara. And I think if Jamal can't do that, then maybe he's not the guy that I think he is. I still can't believe Mendoza went to this. Brian Mendoza, how long? I was looking at that as well. I mean, but when we think about Brian Mendoza, guys, we don't think about a world class. We think about a guy who's just tough. You know, a good, tough, gritty boxer. Mendoza came down here into Australia. I got to see him fight against Zhu. He's tough. You know what I mean? He's a good boxer. Would he be a lock to go in and stop any fighter? I don't know. You look at the ring experience. LaManna is he's been in the gym. He's boxed. He has a lot of rounds, a lot of ring experience. He's looking for his 40th win. I think he has 39 victories. If he beats Charlo, it's his 40th. So he knows how to work in a ring. He knows how to maneuver. I think there's a bit of vitriol on this fight. You guys have seen the back and forth. It's gotten racial, like it always does in boxing. Plant by stoppage is a good bet. Yeah, but you know what, man? The more tape I study, Renteria, on Armando Resendez is a 26-year-old prospect. You know, he has a pressure style. He's good, man. Like Resendez is good. Eric Priest versus Arias. I don't like that fight. I told you guys I don't like this fight, Priest versus Arias. Just based on I've never been a big... I know why Eric Priest gets marketed. We covered this on a live stream yesterday. He's undefeated. You know, he says all the right things. He looks the part. He has promotion behind him. You know, it's going to come down to how much dog does Arias have left in the tank. I think he's 34. And, you know, his resume, he's fought better opponents. You know, he has a win over Jared Hurd. He got stopped by Erickson Lubin. Stopped McCumbie, and Trevor is a gangster. Yeah, Trevor is a gangster. But, so I don't know if McCumbie... I don't like doing boxing maths like that in terms of, like, because he stopped McCumbie, that means McCumbie will beat Resendez. I don't know if I like that. I'm sure both Plant and Charlo will win, but the method of victory... Yeah, so Plant and Charlo, I'm taking just Caleb to win that and then Charlo to win by stoppage, but not on the same ticket. The Las Vegas card, guys, on my live stream tomorrow is the other parlay. So if you look at the 8 fights I just gave you, that's day 1 this weekend. We have a whole nother day that I'm going to go over with my pick, and we'll do that live tomorrow. So there's a lot of money to be made, guys. And what I plan on doing is, and what I fully expect to happen, that 8 leg will hit, and then I'll take all that money. We'll take all the money we went on that 8 leg. It's only $1.52, and we'll roll that over to the next day and go heavy on it. And this is how I bet. And, you know, I feel like Charlo's stoppage, 100%. Do you think Eric Priest is going to win? PJ, I mean, he's a big favorite, but I'm staying away from that fight. I could see this being one of those fights where it could go the other way. Go to your box rec and just have a look about how Luis Arias, who he's fought, how he fights. I know it said when he gets rounds, but come on. Yeah, so where are we? And the odds on that Priest fight, let's check the Knicks. Anyone watching that Knicks game? Knicks are up 27-23. I just checked my sports bet. You got Plant by decision. Yeah, I'm taking Plant. I have Plant just money line. You know, it doesn't pay a lot. And that's just base street. That just remove guys. I'll never put a method of victory. If I go really heavy on a money line parlay, I won't roll the dice on a method of victory for the sake of adding juice to the ticket. But Priest on the money line. I hope this won't get screwed. Priest should win. Don't get it twisted. I'm not. I don't know. Sometimes I don't have you guys. You don't have to bet on every fight. You know what I mean? Sometimes as a gambler, the more you're in the game, you see a matchup and you're kind of like, I'm going to stay away from it. And so it's one of those fights. And there's fights that I feature on the channel in the full breakdown that sometimes I want to stay away from, but I have to feature it because they're main events. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not too like the Bektamir fight, Beck the Bully versus DFG. For the sake of the ethics of my channel, because I featured it and I gave you my prediction, I have to bet on it. But I'm not going heavy on that fight because it could go either way. It's a great fight. It could go either way. It's very interesting. I think that fight is going to have some of the most intrigue of the weekend for me, at least, is what happens in that fight. Beck, and everyone's like, yeah, but Beck got stopped against Gabriel Rosado. But yeah, then he got it back. He fought him again and won a decision. And in boxing, we always talk about it on my page. What have you done for me lately? So if you ask Bektemir, that stoppage loss to Rosado, that didn't even happen because he got to fight him again. And this is why fighters, and this is what Ko has the chance to do against Gallegos, put his hand up, rematch. You know, no matter how the outcome fight one, whatever outcome fight two, that's what really matters. Do you have analysis on the Moten fight? Rocky, I didn't have time to break down the Moten fight considering he's $1.02 and we had the fight card in Japan. So I've done 6 breakdowns this week and I've done multiple lives. My money line is Gallegos to be a good fight. The 8.5 bet is good. Yeah, it is good. You like the also over 8.5. Okay. I tend to stay away from the overs as well on my parlays. Like I said, for me personally, if I'm betting a lot of money, anything over $1,000, I like removing the chance of losing even though your fighter won. 2 weeks ago, I picked Boacek on the money line against Michael Fox, and he won. But a lot of people wanted more juice. He was only $1.10. A lot of people put Boacek by stoppage, considering Michael was moving up and what Boacek looked like against Virgil. And he didn't knock him out, and you lost your ticket. So what I always advise to do, if you're going to go method of victory on any of these fighters, even if it's a big mismatch, do it on a separate ticket if you want. Don't put it on like a parlay, a money line thing that you know is going to hit. And sometimes, you know, you might get lucky, but overall long term, if you really want to win consistently, that's my advice to you. So like what I always do, Moten's opponent is tall Cuban with 1 loss. He's 14-1 underdog. I'm having trouble to pick Moten by stoppage or decision. Rocky, if they're giving you odds by stoppage, what are the odds by stoppage, Rocky, and the odds to go the distance? Because we saw Moten a couple fights ago. He fought a really tough young prospect. I think the kid was maybe 3-1, and it went the distance. And I think that, we talked about it on the channel, that fight, even though Moten won, I said should be the blueprint for future opponents. So if he's fighting a taller guy, a rangy guy, even though he might lose, you'd have to think he studied tape, you know, avoid kind of the clinch, avoid keeping his back on the ropes. He should, you know, depending on his resume, he maybe could go the distance. How much you betting on Beck and Fulgham, if you don't mind? So like I said, for Beck, I have Beck money line, and then I have Gallegos money line on a separate ticket. I only put a couple hundred on that to hit. It pays 4-1, so a couple hundred. And you know, with that in mind, I could just sit back and just watch those fights by themselves, and then you guys could come to the channel and say I was right or I was wrong, like you always do. The decision for Moten has the bigger money win over stoppage. The opponent's saying 5. Okay, now Rocky, what I would look at is he's 5'11". Is he southpaw or orthodox? And what do his opponents look like? How old is he? Is he in his late 20s? Is he a 5'11" guy with over, we'll say, 15 fights in his late 20s who has experience? Or is he a younger dude similar to Moten? You know, Moten's still a teen. Is his opponent in his early 20s? Because that matters when you think about how to maneuver through a fight. Also, how to act when you get hurt. I'll wait for Bully vs. Fulgham to bet live. Nice, Munoz. I like your style. Guys, wherever you're tuning in, all I ask, like the video. Keep supporting the page. Stay tuned to the channel. I do lives every day. It's an 8-rounder fight. He's in his 20s. How much? 200 or 300? PJ the Muppet Show. 300. See, it's like the you ask and I'll tell. But hopefully the IRS. We don't have the IRS down here. You guys are in America, I think. Yeah, but you got to understand, none of that money comes out of my bank account. I leave a lot of money that I win and just carry it over. And then when it gets to a certain amount, whether it's rent or a big bill, I'll then deduct. So depending where your money's at, your livelihood is at, guys. So the best advice I was ever given, I lived in Vegas for 2 years, in 2011 and 2012. Sub Johnny, how's the weather out there? Rando, it's currently winter here, so it's cold. How you bet? I don't bet live. Next week, Keyshawn. Oh, I love that fight, Renteria. Keyshawn versus De Los Santos. So my advice I was given when I lived in Vegas from the locals were that if your winnings pay a bill, cash out. So that's what I tell you. Gallegos KO Fulgham decision. What do you think? Mac, it's a good bet. You know, I'm betting against it. You know, I'm taking Beck. I'm taking Beck on the money line against Fulgham. But if the odds are right, roll with the odds. You know, depending on how you're doing this week. If you guys took the Japan fights and you're winning, roll the dice. You know, it's worth it. We see upsets all the time. Um, think about there was a fight on Munguia. Yeah, we talked about it. Munguia tested positive, man. I'm pissed about that. It's hot as bull nuts here in Texas. Rondo Light, Texas. Yeah, you guys deal with it there, man. It's the heat. So we have opposite seasons. It was funny. Terrence Crawford, he's currently down here in Australia, and he posted on his Instagram. He didn't know it was winter. He gets down here. He didn't know. I don't know if a lot of Americans know that the seasons are switched. I didn't know that when I moved here. So yeah, when you guys have summer, I have winter. And so right now, my friends and family from Ohio are all posting, at the pool. They're, swimming, and I'm out here cold. And then in my winter, I get to post when I'm at the pool, and they get pissed off. So yeah. But any other questions, guys? Keep them coming. Did you guys tune into Gary's live stream? Did you guys get the 4-leg lock parlay we did? Salute everybody. Have you seen Bud yet? Nah, I haven't seen him. He's been doing this tour. Some of the No Limit, one of the promotional companies down here has him doing like a speaking tour with Aussie fighters. So he's been going to like Brisbane, Melbourne. He's going to finish here in Sydney. So I think he's in Sydney tomorrow. I haven't seen him. Beck versus Fogan with 300 by decision or knockouts. Yeah, the 4-leg lock. Meech, did you? So we covered. So this 4-leg lock we covered on Gary's channel. If you guys, if you don't follow 3D Boxing, follow 3D Boxing. He's a bloke out of Texas named Gary. Knows his stuff. He goes by the Boxing Bookie. He had me on his show yesterday, and we built a 4-leg parlay that he puts in his either Patreon or one of the other offsite things. And it pays 3-1. And that bet is Plant, Lucero, Gallegos, and Hernandez money line. Bet keeps his hands too low, shoots single shots, and tends to, yeah, thank you. DFG could definitely win the fight. Johnny Myers are literally half yours. The first one probably give me. And Jack, this is what, I don't know if my people are always saying that I get better odds down here, but I think it might have to do with the exchange rate. Because our dollar, the Aussie dollar is at 63 cents compared to the US dollar. And I'm wondering if that's why. So yeah, because every time I print out my odds and I put them in the post section, when I hit, everyone's like, damn, those odds are amazing. I think it has to do with the exchange rate. If you had to make a 4-pick parlay, what would you pick? Mac, that's what we did over. Plant, Lucero, Gallegos, Hernandez. And this was Gary's, mine, and Muscle Brown's. So you should be getting either 2-1 or 3-1, depending where you are. So Caleb Plant money line, Lucero money line, Gallegos money line, and Hernandez, Yenli, the Cuban. Now, if you would have taken this yesterday, the odds would be bigger because yesterday Gallegos was a bigger underdog, but a lot of money has come back on him. So right now, Gallegos and Khalil Ko are kind of even money. When I put this in yesterday, I got it at 3-1. So it's something to think about. And that is the 3D Boxing, Gary and me. That's our money. That's our 4-leg lock. I already gave you mine. Mine's 8 legs. Tomorrow, guys, I'm doing another live stream to give you another 8-leg parlay for the fights in Vegas. Because all these fights that I talked about are in Mexico tomorrow. There's a lot of money to be made. I don't think it's the exchange rate because you're paid out in Australian dollars, not US. No, I get paid out US dollars. I think you just have a book. No, Jack, I get... Now, oh no, okay, my bad. On my sports bet account, yeah, I get paid Aussie dollars. I thought you meant on my YouTube, Google. So Google Analytics pays me out in US, which is good living in Australia. Money coming ahead, yeah. And DFG, I saw that, TJ. So yeah, the DFG odds, it's like this. So you guys could look into that however you want. That's just where the bettors are putting their money. If I got to be honest, I think the DFG and Beck fight is a truer 50-50 fight. And I think the Gallegos and Ko fight, I was shocked to see Gallegos such a big dog initially. I wouldn't be shocked if tomorrow Ko's the underdog. And I don't know how much of that has to do with the bettors in America not really, paying, waiting to the end to put their money on, waiting for these swings. So we'll see what happens. Your sportsbook pays you better, Gallegos. I have trash. That's wild. And like I do, I always put my receipts up, guys. So if you go to the post section on my channel and just scroll down, you can see various news, my videos, but then you'll see my gambling tips, and then you'll see the odds that I post. Can I send you some money to bet for me? Oh, that's a slippery slope, PJ. If you have a system, maybe email me. Email me. My email's on my channel. Why is Gallegos a dog though? What am I missing? DJ, what am I missing? That's the crazy bit. That's when I broke down that fight 2 days ago. We watched what happened in fight one. Co's already the dog on main boxing betting book. That's crazy. Look, guys, if you guys don't believe me, I'll print this out for you. I got Gallegos at a $2.30 underdog, but I put that bet in 2 days ago. You probably can't even see it. But yeah. So 2 days ago, Gallegos was 2 plus 230. Bet 360. Yeah, so the odds are all over the shop. And it's just something to think about. I don't, like I said, what was said about Kyron Davis fight. I'm picking Kyron Davis to get stopped. I think Yenli Hernandez, the Cuban, is going to stop him. Kyron Davis is a good boxer. He's technical. He has skills. I just don't think he does anything extremely, extremely well. I don't think he's world level. Look at Yenli Hernandez's tape. You know, he's a knockout artist from Cuba. So he does all the things right the Cubans do. You know, the movement patterns, the in and out, the feints. But what he doesn't do that a lot of the Cubans now do is he looks for the knockout. And I know Kyron Davis has only been stopped, I think, once or twice. Do you have an amateur boxing program? Jack, I boxed as a kid growing up in Youngstown, Ohio. I started boxing at a gym when I was 7 and then stopped when I was 15. I played baseball, football, and basketball all up until college and played baseball in college. But I still box now. Just put my money on Gallegos money line. Mac, get it now. If you guys are hot on Gallegos, you better put that bet in now because those odds are going to keep going down. Beck missed way too for his first weigh-in. I didn't see that. How much did he miss by? I thought they both made. He ended up making, right? He ended up making that weight. He's a big dude. He cuts a lot. Kyron only got stopped. Yeah, I thought he only got stopped once. But, yeah, I went with Yen Lee because Kyron lacks volume and is slow to return his defense. But if he makes the decision, I won't cry. Yeah, like I said, I'm saving that Hernandez versus Kyron fight for just a side piece bet. I'm not putting that fight on my money line. It's just a little side piece. But if it's $1.20, if you want to add it to a money line. Guys, I got to run. It's my Friday morning. I got to go get coffee with my girlfriend. She lives in a different neighborhood. Stay tuned to the channel. Guys, I uploaded 2 videos today. My breakdown of the Caleb versus Resendez fight. My breakdown of the Charlo versus Cornflake fight. Also, tomorrow I'll be going live again. Thanks, Jack. Yeah, Jack, I still train. So, I still train. But I spar every Saturday. I got sparring tomorrow morning. And I spar against a bunch of young guys. I'm 43. So stay tuned to the channel. I'll be going live tomorrow. We got another parlay I'm going to give you tomorrow. Peace, GOAT. Peace to everybody helping the channel out. Like this video, and we'll be in touch. Let's get that money. DJ, appreciate you.